A very good evening and welcome to the Buddhist Mahavira's Facebook page. Here we go live this evening with another session of the Bhojjangas that we have been discussing. And today we are at the fifth Bhojjanga, and this Bhojjanga is called Passadhi or calm, or also known as tranquility, sometimes interpreted as tranquility. So this evening we have with us Bhante from Sri Lanka, and this Bhante is not an unknown. He's been with us here at the Facebook live sessions with us a couple of times. Bhante has also been to Buddhist Mahavira early this year, and he had conducted many lectures with us, Dhamma sermons at the Buddhist Mahavira. And we're very glad Bhante has accepted our invitation. And now I'd like to invite Bhante to come online. His name is Bhante M. Gnanawasa. Just give me a minute. Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening. Good evening.
Welcome to Dhammadana sharing this evening.
Thank you very much.
And let me read Bante's profile. So those of you who have not met Bante before, Bante Minuwangoda Gnanawasa is a university lecturer for education science at the Department of Social Sciences and Cultural Studies under the Faculty of the Languages and Cultural Studies at the Bhikshu University of Sri Lanka. He has completed his degree in education science from the University of Colombo, Sri Lanka, in the English medium. He has also completed his master's degree in education from the Bhikshu University of Sri Lanka as well, also in the English medium. Bhante has written many research articles to many local and foreign academic journals, magazines, and done research presentations in national and international conferences. He has also presented his research findings in countries like Vietnam, Australia, and Sri Lanka, while holding many responsibilities in the university at present. Apart from being a university lecturer, he's also a well-known Buddhist missionary in Sri Lanka and preaches on several national TV channels as well as radio channels. He has the ability to preach in both Sinhala as well as in English and conduct spiritual programs when invited when he's overseas too. So we're very glad we have Bhante Minuwangoda, Jana Masa with us this evening. So Bhante, would you like to start this evening's Dhamma sharing?
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. At the very beginning, I would like to pay my homage to the Lord Buddha, the Noble Doctrine, Supreme Dhamma, and Mahasangha, including Venerable Mahasangha, dear Dhamma friends. At the very beginning, I must offer my gratitude to the chief incumbent of Mahavihara, Malaysia, and also the Mahasangha, and the organization committee of the Dhammadana series of Mahavihara, including Mr. Leslie, for inviting me to talk about the Passadhi Sambojjhanga, or the factor of the enlightenment, tranquility. Before we're gonna talk about the factor tranquility, I would like to flash back your memory to the other tranquility, I beg your pardon, to other contemplations which comes under Satta Bojjhanga, because we have to keep this in mind that the awareness or the understanding or the knowledge about just one factor is not enough regarding the seven Bhojjangas. So these are interrelated, and if you do not get the awareness about the whole seven factors, you cannot practice them together. These 7 factors or Satta Bhojjhangas are called the factors that is need to be practiced in the path of enlightenment. Simply, we can say them factors of enlightenment. So, you cannot take one and practice. You need to practice them together. That is why I have told these are interrelated. But I'm not going to talk about one by one. Today we are going to talk about only the factor of tranquility. But before that, I would like to tell you what are the other factors also, or you can say contemplations. So the very first one is mindfulness, sati, which is the most popular contemplation among the Buddhists and also among the other people who do not follow Buddhism. And the second one is Dhamma Vichaya Sambodhanga, which is the contemplation of investigation. Investigation to what? Investigation of Dhamma. And the next one is Viriya Sambodhanga, which is the contemplation of energy in English. And the next one is contemplation of rapture, which means piti. You may simply say happiness. And the next one is the topic that we are going to discuss today, Passadhi Sambodhanga, which is the contemplation of tranquility. And the next one is Samadhi, which is also one of the most popular contemplations, concentration. And the last one is Upekha, equanimity. So I have to tell you this again and again. If you did not understand and if you did not go through or listen to the other contemplations that already have been discussed through Malaysian Buddhist Mahavihara Dhammadana series, you better go back to them and listen to them and also practice them with this also. And I have to tell you, 2 more contemplations to be discussed and explained by some Bhantes. So you better listen to them also. Well, now we will uh, have a look into what is tranquility or what is calm or what is the contemplation of tranquility or Passadhi. Uh, when I talk about tranquility, you better get it as calm. Calm or the tranquility in your mind and your body. Also, we can use some other words, similes for tranquility as stillness or the feel peacefulness, or you may say serenity. So most of the people today's world are struggling to inculcate the peacefulness in their mind or the serenity or calm stillness in their mind. So when I wanna tell you about tranquility or serenity, about the Passadhi, I want you to think of the mental illness, anxiety, because more than the half of the world today are struggling with the mental illnesses, especially during this pandemic situation. Every day, through medias, government organizations and non-government organizations, and everybody advises us to save our mind because we are under lockdown situations and we are during a pandemic, so we better protect our mind. So even though we don't have a pandemic, most of the people in the world are suffering from stress and also anxiety. Why? It is because we don't have the energy within ourselves that we have developed throughout our lives to inculcate or to develop tranquility. So there are methods that you can develop tranquility or passadhi within yourself, and then we need to practice them. Before practicing them, we have to know how to practice them. So when you listen to the Bhantes, the preachers, they always advise you three things that you need to follow when you're gonna practice Dhamma. The very first one is Sunatha, you have to listen. So even related to this factor, you need to listen very carefully what is tranquility or what is Passadhi means. If you do not have the basic awareness or the understanding what it is, and then you can follow it, you cannot practice it. That's why I have advised you before you gonna, if you did not or if you miss the previous sessions about the uh, contemplations or Bhojjhangas, you better listen to this session now and then immediately go back and listen to the other factors also that you have already missed. So, without the awareness or knowledge or basic understanding about what this is, you cannot practice anything in Dhamma. So, we can apply the same principle here too. So, my very first advice here, dear Dhamma friends, please listen very carefully. And within this time duration, I'm going to tell you what is Passadhi mean, which comes under Buddhism, and then how to practice it, and what are the results that you can get by practicing tranquility or serenity, and how you can inculcate peacefulness in your mind and in your body. And the next one is Dhare. First, you have to listen very carefully, and if you have still some doubtfulness about what you have already listened, then you can go through the texts, and thousands of sources are available, and then go through them and also try to get the need awareness. And then you have to practice it. So these are the three principles that I'm going to tell you before you gonna listen to this Dhamma talk. Well, so what is tranquility here? I have already told you that when we're gonna talk about the tranquility, you have to know what is anxiety and stress, because tranquility or Passadhi Sambhojjhanga deals with the anxiety or the stress. So you already know what is stress mean, right? Stressful mind. That you can't focus your attention to something. And what is anxiety mean? That if you have a state in your mind which is very sorrowful, if you are worrying too much about something, so there are many things that we need to be get worried as normal human beings. When you lost something, or when you lost one of your nears and dears, and when you have done something wrong, your mind get filled with fear. So when we talk about these mental illnesses, normally people tend to think that they have these mental illnesses. So at the very beginning, I have to tell you here, when we are talking about the mental illnesses, don't mislead yourself that you have these mental illnesses, right? So basically, what is anxiety mean? If you get uh, filled your mind with sorrow, or if you worry too much about something which is not important. As an example, there are some people I have met, they get worried about something which can be easily neglected. As an example, your mother just says something to you like you're bad or something. Something small, just imagine, just a word. But there are some people who get worried a lot because of this. Sometimes they tend to commit suicide because of just a single word. And if somebody has this state in their mind nearly 6 months, then you have to be very careful with your mind because maybe you have anxiety. So, even though we do not have severe mental illnesses, still every one of us have some mental strains. Because of these mental strains, we cannot keep peace in our mind. So everyone in the world are looking for inculcation of peacefulness in the mind. So this is the remedy. From the beginning of the contemplation of mindfulness to the contemplation of equanimity, throughout this journey, throughout this path, you can find out the remedies, the cure for all kind of mental illnesses, including the small mental strains, just like small stress. To make you aware about that, I will tell you a small example. When someone looking at you and criticize you in front of others, what do you feel? Or when you overheard that somebody is criticizing you, what do you feel? That is kind of a mental strain, restlessness. You don't feel good when somebody talk bad about you. So that is also kind of a mental state that we don't want. That is also kind of mental state that ruin or eradicate the peacefulness of our mind. If you practice tranquility or serenity or passadhi, believe me, you can avoid such kind of small mental strains too. So, which means you can be free totally from the stressfulness of your mind, restlessness of your mind. My dear Dhamma friends, let me focus your attention to the five hindrances. I'm not going to talk about the five hindrances here, but if you have gone through already the Dhamma Dana series, or at least about the other Bhojjhangas that have already been discussed, you already may know what are the five hindrances, and each and every factor of Bhojjhangas deals with one specific hindrance, Pancha Niyama Dhamma. So, what is the hindrance? Deals with Passadhi or tranquility is Uddhacha Kukkucha. If you don't know this, please go through Dhacha Kukkucha and get the awareness because these are very, very much essential. Five hindrances, I know, even I sometimes when I have free time, I used to listen to Dhammadana series of Buddhist Mahavihara online. So I know that couple of weeks or months ago, there was a Dhamma discussion of five hindrances. So Uddhacha Kukkucha means the restlessness of your mind. Restlessness means the stressfulness. When you don't feel peace in your mind, when you don't feel rest in your mind, when you don't feel calm in your mind, if your mind is like a monkey, which means you are a victim of restlessness, you are a victim of the particular hindrance. So, my Dhamma friends, please try to understand your mind at the very beginning. Please go through the five hindrances again and again. And if you can highlight, if you can recognize which hindrance, which one is bothering me most in my mind, then you can practice the Bhojjangha or contemplation related to that particular hindrance. So here, if you do not have a peaceful mind, if your mind is a monkey mind, so there is a very beautiful saying comes in Tibetan Buddhism. If you make your mind a temple, if you make your mind a temple, that is become so calm. Or if you make your mind a monkey, then your mind is not calm. What's the meaning of a monkey mind? Which means that your mind popping out from one to another. So you cannot focus your attention, or you cannot concentrate your mind, then you cannot achieve the peacefulness in your mind. So, in the journey of the path to the enlightenment, definitely you need to practice how to eradicate or how to reduce the restlessness within your mind. Okay. So, I was only talking about the mind, but when you discuss the tranquility or Passadhi, my Dhamma friends, Buddhism doesn't talk only about the mind, because you need not only the peacefulness only in your mind, but also the peacefulness of your body too. Because those who know about the mental illnesses, if you have stress, you cannot stay in one posture. So if you're gonna do meditation, like to practice this Satta Bhojjangha, seven contemplations, you need to meditate. For the meditation, you need to have the practice how to stay still in a one position, in a one posture for the meditation. So maybe you have seen some yogas, which means some people who addicted meditation, they can stay still sometimes for hours. So in Buddhism, we have heard, uh, I pay homage to the Lord Buddha and enlightened ones, and also some other meditators used to stay still sometimes days, hours. Some can stay still in one posture more than one day. How? Meanwhile, there are some people, some small children even, that they cannot concentrate or stay still in one position at least for 1 hour. So even when we talk about the Passadhi Sambojjhanga, normally the Dhammadana series, one session is limited to 1 hour. At least sometimes we cannot concentrate, at least sometimes we cannot stay in one posture for this 1 hour. It is because you don't have the rest or the calm or the serenity within your body. So this is what I want to highlight. When we talk about the tranquility or the serenity, Buddhism doesn't deal with the serenity only. the serenity of the mind, but also it deals with, it discusses the factor that the serenity should be inculcated or developed in your body too, because the mind and body interrelated. So if you do not have the peacefulness or serenity within your body, you cannot make your mind peaceful. If you don't have a peaceful mind, again, you cannot have a peaceful body. So you can't stay still. So you can't focus. So these are basically the symptoms of the stress. Dhammo sada samannatti etang pibhata bhikkhave. Once the great Lord Buddha, pay homage to him, has preached, dear monks, dear followers, the only cure for all kind of diseases, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, is the Dhamma. Please have it. Etang pibhata. So millions and billions of men and women on this earth are suffering from mental illnesses, from small mental strains to severe mental illnesses. And also, they are suffering from physical illnesses. I'm not talking about that you, I'm not telling you that you can avoid all kind of physical illnesses practicing Dhamma. But I want to tell you that if you practice Dhamma, definitely you can eradicate, you can wipe out all kind of mental illnesses. So, my Dhamma friends, let's focus. What we have to do exactly to practice or develop or inculcate tranquility within our mind and in our body. So, the very first principle here is that you need to listen and read and get the full awareness or understanding. I beg your pardon, you cannot use the word awareness here, understand. You can read and listen and understand what is Passadhi or tranquility mean and how to practice. So that is the very first one. So I am advising you again and again, if you have some doubts still, even after listening to this preaching, you better go through these other Dhamma discussions and also some materials and texts. Please read them and get the knowledge. And then how to practice this? Well, so in commentaries, in under Theravada Buddhism, you already may know that the Theravada Buddhist tradition is rich with commentaries. So in these commentaries, uh, the commentators have explained how and what to practice to inculcate or develop tranquility. So there are 7 factors that you need to follow or focus in practicing Passadhi. So we will go one by one. Before that, I'm going to tell you those 7 factors. The very first one is Panita Bhojjangha Sevanata, using superior food. Mm, something very tasty at the very beginning. So this is so nice. We will come back to the first factor. And the second one is itu sukha sevanata, living in a good climate, living in a favorable place. Itu sukha sevanata. Third one is iriyapatha sukha sevanata, keeping to the middle. The next one is the fourth one, Majjatta payogata, keeping to the middle. The fifth one, avoidance of violent persons. Do not associate people you don't like. Saradhakaya puggalata. The sixth one is cultivation of persons tranquil in body and mind. Pasassakaya puggala sevanata. The fifth one is do not associate aggressive people who like violence, who tend to lead the lives that are not filled with wholesome activities, but associate the people who are very calm with their body and with their mind. Passassakaya puggala sevanata. And the seventh one is tadadi muttata, which means determination upon that tranquility or passaddhi. The needness of inculcating or developing passaddhi or tranquility within the self. So these are the seven factors or the things that we need to practice to inculcate Passadhi. So I have told you what is Passadhi already. Now to the second part of the speech, how to practice and what to do to practice or inculcate Passadhi within the self. Here we come for the very first one, my Dhamma friends. The very first one is using superior food. Panita Bhojjangha Sevanata. So this doesn't mean that you can eat anything you love, right? So be very careful when you deal with Dhamma, because it always says that if you catch the snake with its tail, it's too dangerous. So in the same way here, when you practice Dhamma, you have to be very careful of understanding the concepts. So here it says to practice the tranquility, to inculcate the tranquility within your body, you need to have superior food. Panita bhojana. Panita means tasty. Is that so? No. It doesn't mean tasty. So in Buddhism, the Panita bhojana is explained as this. Sappi macho mansang kirang and dadi. So here Panita bhojana means actually a balanced diet. A balanced diet. Why? Sabbe sattha aharatipika. If you do not have enough nutrition, you cannot keep focus to something that is essential. Or you cannot, if you do not have the energy that you need in your body that can be gained from food, so you are not in a position that can be practiced Dhamma. I have told you, Passadhi means not only the serenity or peacefulness in your mind, but also it is interrelated. Body and mind are interrelated. So if you do not have the tranquility within your body, you cannot inculcate the tranquility in your mind. So that's why under these seven factors that you need to follow to practice tranquility or serenity, most of them related to the body. So the very first one, using superior food. So here superior food means the food that contains enough nutrients or nutritious food. Simply a balanced diet. just imagine when you go through these seven factors one by one, you may get under, you may understand that what we were taught under health science, uh, the way we were advised by our medical officers regarding the health of our body, same thing has been preached by the Lord Buddha under this Passadhi and Bhojjangha. If you can keep a healthy body, if you can maintain a healthy life, that generates the immune, or that improve the immunity system within yourself, that can fight with the germs and the virus. Here we come. We are suffering from a virus these days, and there are some people who recovered soon. Just 6 or 7 minutes ago, we started this Dhamma talk. I happened to answer to the phone of a person who came back from the hospital after recovering from the COVID-19, and he told me that he did not have any symptom because his immune system is so powerful. So that helped him to fight the COVID-19. So, my Dhamma friends, again I have to tell you, Dhammo Saddha Samannati. There is no cure better than Dhamma. So if you if you get the better understanding and practice your life, your journey according to the Bhojjhangas, definitely you will have a better life, a better psychic and better physique, a healthy body and a healthy mind. So here, it doesn't mean that when you are advised to have a balanced diet, that you need to go for the food that you love. Because like in one place, once Lord Buddha has preached, you have to afraid of food. I'm telling it again to you. You have to afraid of food, just like you are afraid of crocodiles who live in the lakes and the rivers. When you're going to put your steps, when you try to get into the water, you have to be very careful whether there are crocodiles in the water. In the same way, when you're going to have food, you have to be very careful whether I am getting enough nutrients or over nutrients, right? So people are suffering because of food. Thousands of people are walking thousands of miles looking for food in one corner of the world. And in some places, still, some people are walking thousands of miles because they want to reduce their fat. Why? They had more than enough. Well, so that's why you have to be very careful. So here, when you talk about using superior food, I have told you sappi. Sappi means the essence. I may say butter. There are some food that you need not to full your stomach, but still with a small amount, you can get the enough nutrients. They are sappi. Manchang massa means the fish and the meat. So there are restrictions in Buddhism. You cannot kill anybody for your food. So that's why I told I'm not going to explain everything because we have a limited period of time. So you need to be very careful with using these words, and especially when you have food. And the kirang mean the products that are made from milk. And the next one is dadi, that means curd and other food that contains enough nutrients. Okay. So if you have enough food and enough nutrients, and then you can have a healthy body, so you can concentrate. You can have a healthy mind too. They are interrelated. And the next one is living in a good climate or living in a favorable place. Here, itu sukha sevanata. So this may vary from person to person. The food also the same. There are some food that you have to get, and there are some food that you have to avoid. It differs from person to person according to the nature of the body. So according to the system that you use to practice, it gets vary. So you have to select. And the next one is itu sukha sevanata, as I have explained. Uh, so itu mean the season. So there are some people who cannot live in cold weather. There are some people who cannot live in a climate where uh, uh, the atmosphere is so hot. So you have to create a favorable environment around yourself. So it is not only the physical environment but also the social environment. So what is social environment is the people that you associate. If you happen to associate people that you don't like, people who bother you all the time, and the factors that bothers you every time around yours, then you have to avoid it. Because when you start worrying about those factors, as an example, if you live in a room where the mosquitoes are filled with, how can you practice or inculcate Passadhi? How can you have a very good sleep? Right? So you need to have a better place that can make your body feel relaxed, that can make your body comfortable. So some get mistaken about the Buddhism. So some may think that a person who practice Buddhism hard need to suffer, need to make their bodies suffer. That's wrong. So here what Buddhism exactly says, you have to have the basic needs: food, shelter, protection, and also your medicine, and a peaceful environment. So if somebody is going to do meditation, beforehand, that person definitely need to have a favorable environment, which is free from troublesome noises, troublesome sights, troublesome people, and troublesome environment. So if you can establish a peaceful environment around yourself, that means you have completed the second factor related to the inculcation of tranquility. Okay. The next one is maintaining a pleasant posture. So this is something you need to practice. Maybe you have heard before you go to meditation. My Dhamma friends, I must tell you that these factors you need to practice before you're gonna do meditation, right? And on the other way, people always think only through meditation you can eradicate the mental strains and you can inculcate or develop the spirituality or the peacefulness in the mind. That's wrong. Because to practice Passadhi, you just not need to sit in a position and close your eyes and do meditation. So even without doing meditation, still you can have a peaceful mind. I'm not telling you not to do meditation. Don't get this mistakenly. So please try to understand what I'm talking, even without doing meditation. And also, this is a prerequisite for meditation. If you're gonna stay still in a posture and do meditation beforehand, you have to practice how to stay still. So, as I have told you earlier, there are some people who can stay still more than 24 hours because they feel so calm in their body. So, for a person who start practicing in concentrating their body in one posture, it is not that easy for them at the very beginning because you need to practice. So, remember this word practicing. A gymnastic player, you have seen they have a flexible body, but that didn't come just practicing one day. Thousands of failures, and within million of efforts, they came to that particular talent. They have got this particular talent with innumerous of efforts. So in the same way, you need to practice your body how to stay still, keeping to maintaining a pleasant posture. Pleasant posture. Idiyapata sukha sevanata. That doesn't mean that you need to use the posture that you love. Like most of the people love to sleep, right? So this doesn't mean that you have to keep your body in a posture that you like to stay. This means you need to practice your body to feel calm, to feel okay when you stay in any posture. Right? So for this you need to practice. When someone practice how to maintain a pleasant posture, so they start feeling so peacefulness and stillness within their body. And that helps to maintain the peacefulness in the mind simultaneously. Let's move to the next factor, the fourth one, keeping to the middle. So, keeping to the middle means majjata pariyogata, which means, so there are two kind of meanings, but I prefer which is most practical for us in our day-to-day life, which is that you should not be too busy, and also you should not be a lazy person who has nothing to do. So people sometimes may think if we don't have anything to do, so some says that you venerable sir have a very good life because you have less duties, not like us. But I have to tell you, if you associate a Buddhist monk very closely, they are very busy actually. So here, which is avoidance. I beg your pardon. Keeping to the middle mean not that you are being busy, but well, I will explain this way, right? So imagine that you are a very busy person. Of course, yes, most of you are very busy, and these days maybe you have time, but still you are very busy, right? You are not going to work maybe these days, and because the limitations are there, restrictions are there, but still we are very busy, right? So what's this? With what we are very busy? Not that we are working, but our mind is very busy. Maybe you are the busiest person in the world. Maybe you are the busiest person in the world, but still you can do just one task, one activity in the moment. You have this to do, that to do, and something else to do, but still you can do just one thing right now. So why we are busy then? It is because our mind is always living in the past. As an example, a mother wakes up 4 o'clock, prepared food, did the home works and all the cleanings and stuffs as a housemaid, and again goes to work. And in the evening or coming back and have to prepare food and like doing the cleanings and all the things. Now she's in the office. She's doing something with her computer. She's doing some calculations. Is she busy? No, she's doing just one activity, one task at the moment. But she is busy in her mind because she is suffering. She's focusing her attention. I woke up at 4 o'clock, and from that to now, I have been working. And again, she's busy in the future. Oh, once I leave the workplace, I have to go home and I have to clean what I have cooked and I have to prepare food and all those things. So that's called that's how you lose your peacefulness in your mind because you are not busy. Nobody can be busy because you can do just one task, one activity in one moment. But we are very busy in our mind. So I have to tell you, the Lord Buddha only kept 2 hours for himself. I'm not talking that you have to be very busy, but I'm talking here. Majjate means that doesn't mean that you reduce your workload. Also, that doesn't mean that you increase your workload. But to day-to-day practice, you better not to be too busy and also not to have less amount of works. So Majjhatta Pariyogata. When you're too busy, like you get tired, your body get tired and then your mind get tired also. So you need to have free time for your leisure. Try to get some leisure activities. So there are many people that uh, used to listen to Dhamma as their leisure activities. As an example, Mr. Leslie and the other brothers in the organization committee, their leisure activities organizing Dhamma. So for me, preaching Dhamma is my leisure activity. So I don't feel uh, busy when I preach. I don't feel busy when I read Dhamma. So there is a saying that if you can make your hobby your job, then you're not working, right? Well, let's move to the next factor, which is avoidance of violent persons. In Pali, Saradhakaya Puggalata. Here, the violent persons means those who do not practice Passadhi, those who do not have the awareness or the understanding, or those who do not rely on the factor of tranquility. Do not associate, try to avoid them. Those who do not believe in Dhamma, those who don't want to improve or develop their spirituality, you better avoid them. So always try to associate people who talk Dhamma. It doesn't mean that the people who always talking Dhamma are superior, but those who practice Dhamma, those who show results from their mind and from their body. Like once the Lord Buddha has preached how to find a better person to associate, you have to associate that person and you have to discuss with him and also examine the person when he is in a trouble, when he is in a situation that the person may get excited. As an example, when he lose something very near to him or very dear to him, and still the person is in a calm situation, that person has already practiced the Passadhi, so he has inculcated it. So if there are people who doesn't suffer too much, if there are people who have the patience, even when they're gonna lose something very important for them, so better you associate those people. Maybe they don't know about Passadhi. Maybe they don't know about Dhamma, but they show it because they practice it. Right? So these are most of them are physical. The next one is cultivation of person's tranquil in body and mind. So you have to avoid the people, those who are engaging in unwholesome activities, those who inculcate and those who practice unwholesome thoughts within themselves. Better you avoid them, because it's always, like that's the nature of the human mind, to follow that you associate. Normally the behavior of one person affected the others. So behaviorism is kind of a theory that has been um, built. So according to the behaviorists, definitely when you associate somebody, you get the behaviors others have. So that's why always the uh, Lord Buddha advised us to avoid the people, those who have unwholesome engagements, unwholesome thought, and those who have unexpected behaviors. The next one is unacceptable behaviors. I beg your pardon. And the last one is tadahadi muttata. You should have the determination for this. Maybe you have enough food, nutritious food, and you may have a peaceful environment, favorable environment around yourself. The second factor. The third one, maybe you can practice your body for a posture. Definitely, you need to do physical exercises and maintaining a pleasant posture. And you are in a person who is not too busy person, but also engage in activities that are essential. And also maybe you are not associating people who lead yourself, who lead you to unwholesome activities and also to a state of mind of unwholesome. Maybe you have people around yourself who practice Dhamma, of course, through Dhamma, but if you don't have a determination in practicing tranquility, my Dhamma friends, you are not in a position or you are not in the path. So, for the last, as the last advice today in this Dhamma session, I want to tell you that you need to have um, determination and also the need of inculcation of the tranquility or Passadhi Sambhojjhanga. I have told you these Bhojjhangas, these factors of enlightenment are interrelated to each other. So to practice these 7 factors comes under Passadhi Sambhojjhanga. What you essentially need is Virya Sambhojjhanga, which means the energy. So if you don't have energy, if you are not an energetic person, then you cannot have the determination. If you do not have the determination, you cannot practice the Passadhi. So I think you may have enough knowledge and understanding listening to these explanations. And according to the time, we are going to stop our teaching for today's session. But still, you have some times for the questions, and I am inviting Mr. Leslie to come back and will invite for the our Dhamma friends for the questions.
Thank you, Bhante. It was a very interesting subject that you spoke about. I didn't realize that there are so many things in Pasadi that we should study and comprehend. There are no questions this evening from the audience, but there were very good comments about your delivery, Bhante. So many people were quite pleased with the delivery, and they said it's a very interesting talk that you have delivered. But I have one personal question regards to one of the factors that you mentioned earlier, that the climate has to be appropriate for you to actually have calm. So does this mean that people living in the tropics or living along the equator, where the weather is very hot, or those living in the poles, either the North Pole or the South Pole, not conducive because the weather is extremely cold or the weather is extremely hot? So how would they want to practice calm then, Bhante?
Okay, that's why I told you that yes. So here I have ended up the talking that you need to have virya, right? Energy. So you cannot uh, keep everything perfect. That is also you should have in your mind. Uh, so you cannot maintain everything according to the favor of you, but still, human beings have the capacity or the ability to change the things around ourselves. So those who have virya, you know what is virya mean here, then they can definitely make the things arrange uh, according to their need. So as an example, when you say uh, those who are living in the poles, in south and north poles, they are suffering from cold, but they have created their culture and their house, their home, and everything according to the climate. So I have explained within my Dhamma talk also, it doesn't matter in which part you live, but you can create your environment accordingly. As an example, you so I have already told that we need to have our basic needs. So this is what it says. So if you are in a very hot climate and if you are sweating, those who are living uh, near to the equator, as you said, right? Within the room that you're going to meditate, as an example, if you are sweating, how can you concentrate? So, for that, you can use a place where trees are available, right? So, you can plant some trees around you. So, this is something very basic I'm talking about. And also, maybe you can have an air condition. Why not? You can have, right? So, you have to be very careful. If you're a monk, you cannot ask these from the people. If you're only offered, so when you go to the food, nutritious food, if you don't have nutritious food, you cannot ask for the monks. But the Buddhism, the Sasana, or the Sangha society has been built by the Lord Buddha with a very organized manner. So we personally know and everybody knows that monks in the world are given enough nutrients and all kind of facilities. As an example, Buddhist Mahavihara and even the temples that we are living. So you have to create your climate. The climate doesn't mean the climate which is in the North Pole or which is in the South Pole, which is very close to the equator. Doesn't matter where you live, but you can create your climate in your room, in your home. So that's why I told you it doesn't mean only the physical factors around yourself, but also the social factors also affect of this. So you can, if you do not, just imagine you are living in a favorable country, which is very soft, not too cold, not too hot, but still you don't clean yourself. If you don't wash your clothes, if you don't keep your things tidy around yourself, that doesn't make a favorable climate. So here the climate means around yourself. So it doesn't matter whether it's cold or hot, you can create your atmosphere which is favorable for you. On the other hand, our body get used to uh, stay in a position where we according to we live. So those who are living in very cold countries, their body got used to that, right? So I am a person who is living very close to the equator in Sri Lanka. So we can bear the hot weather to some extent. Right? So when it go beyond, then you can maintain it according to your wish. Thank you. Mr. Leslie. Yes.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you. There's an interesting interpretation to my question. I think I missed it out earlier when you were speaking about it. Sorry. So, Bhante, we don't have any questions from the audience this evening. So, can we now move on to the Anumoda? Would you like kindly conduct the Anumodana, Bhante?
I beg your pardon? I can't hear you properly.
I said, sorry. Can we now move? There were no questions from the audience.
Okay.
Uh, so, we move on to the Anumodana section where we transfer the
Yes.
merits to. Yeah.
Okay. So today, uh, the we have to at the very beginning of the Punyanumodana, we have to uh, offer merits at the very beginning to Sister Tang Lee Hoi and her family for sponsoring today's Dhammadana session, and we transfer these merits to the Sister Tang Lee Hoi and her family for sponsoring the Dhamma session today. And may you and your family members, nears and dears, and everyone may get good health, especially in this season. And also, may your all wholesome dreams come true and live happily and live a long life. And also, we would like to transfer these merits to the departed ones of the family of Tang Li Hoi. May all the departed ones of your family may get these merits, and also they may get good life wherever they born. And also may everyone find the final bliss of Nibbana. And of course, uh, the chief incumbent of Buddhist Mahavihara and the other respected reverend venerables, and also all the other Dhamma preachers, including Mahasangha, who are joining every day with Dhammadana series, and of course, Mr. Leslie and all the other members of the organizing committee and all the other members of the Society of Buddhist Mahavihara. And personally, in my case, I uh, got the ability to preach Dhamma because of Buddhist Mahavihara, and I have seen most of new Dhamma preachers are now practicing how to preach, and now they are coming out, which fills a huge gap, of course, because the Buddhism is a cure for all kind of diseases, including mental and physical diseases, to the whole world. So this is a giant step of Buddhist Mahavihara to spread Buddhism, to spread the message of peace for whole world. So I bless and give my best regards to the Buddhist Mahavihara and Organization Committee for the valuable effort that you're making, and also all these merits that we accumulate uh, may resulted for every one of us for our good life, for the uh, hair, for getting a healthy life, and especially we wish every world may get uh, peace and also health, good health during this pandemic situation, and especially the deities, the gods, and every other spiritual spirits may get transferred these merits, and also the departed ones of everybody may get these merits, and everybody may get attain the final bliss of enlightenment. And triple gem bless you all.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
Anumodana. Um, so now that we have come to the end of this evening's Dhamma sharing, on behalf of the Committee of Management and also the monks of the Buddhist Mahavihara, let me take this opportunity to thank Bhante for taking time off from a busy schedule and also the dangerous situation in Sri Lanka at the moment to be with us, and also to the sponsors that we have this evening, and also to all the listeners, viewers who joined us live. And also, I know there's a lot of you that will join us after the talk is over and view the live video on our Facebook page. So, without much ado, thank you very much and a very pleasant evening, one and all. Thank you, Bante.
Welcome. Thank you for inviting. People, bless you.